Everyone was a slave to something.
Is it hyperbole to say that for the better part of a decade, the anime community has been a slave to discourse around Attack on Titan? No matter what titles come and go, Attack on Titan inevitably breaks the community and Crunchyroll servers with every release. It seemed like there was a change in the air for this final episode of Attack on Titan, that maybe the hype would fade because of the more than mixed reviews the ending of the manga received over 2 years ago. Instead, it has gone on to be as popular as ever, ending to mass praise from the entire community. I'm a firm believer that the hate to the manga's ending was overblown. My initial and extremely positive reaction video to the final chapter serves as proof enough, but I think that the anime was able to capture a few elements of the story that the manga slightly misses on. Firstly, the pacing and atmosphere of the anime sets it apart from the source material. The rumbling is a horrifying event in the manga, but the production of the anime goes above and beyond to sear into the viewer's mind the scale of the atrocities being committed. Take the scene with the baby being held in front of the rumbling. The manga has a painter-like quality, as if it would be set up for a canvas to hang in a museum, whereas the anime hones in on the reality of the people falling to their death, trying to pass a baby forward so it can live. The anime brings a heightened sense of realism to this scene that the manga is missing. The rumbling has been a particular bright spot for Mappa's production, but they also really pulled through on the action sequences. At the start of the final season, Mappa's action was clearly missing the flair of wits, and it has been a real joy to see the team at Mappa improve so much, to the point where the anime vastly improves on the stakes of this final set piece from the manga. Every moment of this final episode either feels dire as our characters have to fight their way out of an impossible situation, or thrilling with the ODM gear sequences. The final push by Levi and Mikasa standing next to anything Wit had done in those first 3 seasons. This episode raises the stakes so much compared to the manga, and improves the story in a similar way that the female Titan arc is elevated by such stellar work from the animation team in the first season. While the naming decision for the final season, Part 3, Part 2, is atrocious, ending this final battle in an hour-and-a-half special really paid off when it comes to the big fake-out at the end of the episode. Manga readers had to stew with the death of Jean and Connie for a month, so when they turned back to humans, it felt like a cop-out for a series that kills anyone who is in the wrong place at the wrong time. As a special, this issue is pretty much mitigated, as you are so swept up by the final conversation and final push, where you feel extreme relief at Jean and Connie being okay, instead of disappointment that you've been lied to. This leads to the second aspect that is improved: loose ends. The ending of the manga was announced so abruptly that it felt like many plot lines went unanswered. How could Historia actually just sleep with a random farmer? What is this giant worm of life? And could it really have been love all along? The pacing of the anime fixes these issues. Historia having a child separate from the main bloodshed feels purposeful, as she represents a new generation of people who can embrace who they are. It was also so obvious that Historia and Eren could have never been together because his mind was almost completely destroyed just by kissing her hand. But I digress. The worm becomes a clear metaphor for life itself, a creature that will always be there as long as someone wills it. The ambiguity in the anime makes it even more fascinating and terrifying at the end. The question of love from Ymir's side is lessened in the anime, but still leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of explanation. However, Mikasa's love for Eren plays out perfectly. Eren sought freedom so purely that he was willing to kill everyone to get it. In his mind, the purest idea of freedom would mean he's the only person in the world. He asks Mikasa to forget about him, to be free of this burden to protect him. But Mikasa rejects that idea of freedom and embraces the person that she loves, knowing that she will not forget him. And in many ways, that makes her more free than Eren ever was. Lastly, and most obviously, the anime makes changes to the conversation between Eren and Armin. The anime removes the notorious line where Armin thanks Eren for becoming a mass murderer. The context of that line became widely ignored and used as fuel for the anti-Attack on Titan brigade. Although it is understandable why the line was changed, even with the original context, so many readers misinterpreting this line showed how weak a piece of dialogue it really is, especially for one of the most important conversations in the series. The anime now has Armin tell Eren that he will see him in hell, that Armin's hands are not washed of the evil committed. He has killed people as well. The horror Armin feels at what his friend has done is plain to see, but so is the feeling that all Eren needed was a little more guidance on how to channel his dedication, and so he would have done something different than violence. The final conversation now serves its thematic purpose even more, as the crescendo to the series, showing that you can't solve the cycle of violence with violence. This mega episode shows how medium structure and pacing can mean everything for how a story is interpreted. I'm glad that the ending to Attack on Titan has been received with glowing reviews in the way that the manga should have. Attack on Titan will always remain within the pantheon of anime, a show that's thematic depth will be explored for years to come, and whose hype had the entire community enthralled for a decade. As a community, we now have to find a new series to be latched onto, a new series to ensure we break the Crunchyroll servers, and a new series that will demand discourse. Now, it's time to say goodbye to Attack on Titan. Goodbye to the boy who sought freedom, and goodbye and thank you to one of the greatest stories the medium of anime has ever produced. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's been a little bit while since my last video, and now we've had 2 Attack on Titan videos in a row, but it just seems so fitting. I can't believe that this story is actually over, so if you're still interested in following me on Twitter, check me out at Annie Essays to see more of my takes as they come out. Also, make sure to check out all of the shorts that I've been doing, and expect more video essays to come. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.